Hey everyone, how you doing? This is Amon Green, Green Bay Packers all-time leading rusher, and you're watching Packers Total Access Live, your daily source for Packer content. Go Pack, go!
What's up, guys? Welcome into Packers Total Access. My name is Clayton. You can check us out on packernet.com. Find me on Twitter at Packers_access. Join alongside Tim in Green Bay. We get that man right there hiding behind the name Jacob up there in Wisconsin on the Minnesota border. Here to talk Packers training camp day one. What an exciting day, man. This football season, in my opinion, has officially kicked off. We're going to cover all of the details, guys. We're going to give you all the offensive updates that we've got our hands on, all the defensive updates that we've got to share with everybody. We've got an injury update, which is actually kind of good news, I believe. Really excited about that. And then we'll talk a little remaining contract extensions that may potentially come down the pike as we get a little closer to that first preseason game. I see the chat's already filled in. If you guys would, everybody do that YouTube stuff for me. Hit like, hit subscribe. If this is your first time tuning into PTA, hey, welcome. Thank you for making us a part of your evening. We're not experts here. We're not insiders. What we are fans just like you. We do daily live content for the most part, covering the Packers. We'll be giving you pregame shows, postgame shows, film breakdown, the whole 9 yards. So if you're looking for daily Packers content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss out anytime we do go live. And Tim, I know we had you boots on the ground today. Before we dive into the offensive side of stuff, what was it like down there, man? Give me a little vibe check, man. I know you sent me some stuff here earlier as well.
Yeah, I can tell you from the defensive perspective, particularly the defensive line group, it was straight to work. There was, if there was any thoughts that maybe we'd ease into things, on a hot, humid Wednesday morning, no, that wasn't happening at all. This group came out and got straight to work. Coach Ogabasi and Coach Covington had the boys sweating it out right away, as you can see here on the screen. They were doing some agility drills, hitting the dummies, things like that, working on technique, getting low, exploding off the snap, those kind of things. So it was intense, as intense as you can be at this point with no pads, right? Just getting the legs and the legs moving and the blood pumping is really what the vibe was right away today. A lot of sweat, a lot of water breaks. They went straight to work, and you can see Coach Covington here is in the white with the gray pants on there. He is definitely a hands-on guy. He is getting hands-on. I think he put his hands on every single one of these players today, physically showing them what he's looking for and what he wants them to do. So a lot to be excited from the defense's perspective, I think, especially with the guys up front. Nas Stackhouse, another guy who kind of stood out to me on day one, I guess as much as you can. He was getting a lot of praise from both Kenny Clark, Rashawn Gary, and the coaching staff as well. So our UDFA rookie looking good on day one. So far, so good.
Yeah, they say he's bigger than a house too, man.
Yep.
No doubt. This is really cool. Tim sent this over. Got to meet the golden child, Matthew Golden.
You know it.
What was he like, Tim? He just seems so down to earth, man.
He is super cool, super kind of a coincidence that I bumped into him. I was actually sitting in lot one there trying to send you some of these photos and videos at the time. And I looked up and he was standing there. He had just signed someone's autograph. And I just asked him if he could stop for a quick pic. And, he was busy. He had things to do, obviously, trying to get out of there. Just got off of work. You know how that is, right?
Right.
But he was nice enough to stop and take a quick photo. So awesome.
Just like Jacob, man, he'll stop and take a photo, but he's like, "Didn't you get all the photos in the club while I'm at work, man? I ain't trying to have a conversation in the parking lot, right, Jake?"
We can't show those kind of photos.
And then we got you a picture here with the man, the myth, the legend, Jeff Hafley himself, man. I know that guy. I can't wait to see what he's got in store for this defense this year, man. So appreciate all of that stuff and you being boots on the ground today. And I'm sure you'll have plenty of insight as we move along too. Go ahead, Jake.
Can you put that picture of Half back up with Tim?
Here we go.
Oh, boy, I already closed it out.
Well, I'm just saying, you guys in the chat, let me know. In that picture, that looks like that Jeff Hafley is Tim's long-lost daddy, right? They literally look same facial, same hair. It looked like that he tapped him on the shoulder and he went, "Papa." And that's why Jeff's his face was like, "Oh, no, he found me."
Put that name in my mouth right there.
I can see it, Jacob. I see what you're saying there, man. They do kind of look like
good, see? Maybe brothers. Yeah, maybe I'm saying half. Maybe
There you go. Maybe my long lost older brother. There you go.
I see it.
Coach Lynn says Quay is back tomorrow. Cooper and Simmons is going to be nasty at linebacker. Like I said, we'll hit the injuries here in a little bit. There's a little preview. Great news on the Quay front for sure. Really excited to dive into that here in a minute as well. So, all right, let's dive into the offensive side of the ball, and let's start with this first thing here. See people in the comments and they're like, who cares? He sucks as a coach. All right, Nathaniel Hackett is back with the Packers. All right, he'll be assisting with the defense, similar to what Robert Saleh did last year, bringing an offensive approach to the defensive side of the ball. As you guys know, last year, Robert Saleh brought a defensive mindset to help the offense last year, right? Nathaniel Hackett, people like to pretend like he's this bad coach. Guys, what you get with Nathaniel Hackett is you get a former head coach in the National Football League, and you got a guy with 22 years of coaching experience. He started coaching at the age of 23 at UC Davis as an assistant linebackers coach, all right? He was the offensive assistant at Stanford, then got promoted to coordinator's assistant at Stanford, then recruiting coordinator at Stanford, did some recruiting there. In 2006, he goes to the National Football League as an offensive quality control coach for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for 2 years, then with the Buffalo Bills for 2 years. Then he goes to Syracuse as the quarterback's tight ends coach. So you're seeing him ramp up, right? You're seeing a guy that's getting promoted everywhere he's going, right? Quality control, like we said, with the Buffalo Bills and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He goes to the quarterback's tight ends coach at Syracuse. Then he's promoted the very next year at the age of 32 to offensive coordinator for Syracuse for 2 years. Then he makes it to the National Football League with the Buffalo Bills as an offensive coordinator for 2 years. Then he's the quarterback coach at Jacksonville, quarterback's interim offensive coordinator at Jacksonville, then the OC in Jacksonville for 2 years. He comes to Green Bay. People love to forget this. He was hired as the offensive coordinator by Matt LaFleur, right? And then in 2020, as the offensive coordinator, along with 2021, if I remember correctly, that's when Aaron Rodgers won his MVPs, right? Wasn't it 20 and 21 or was it 19 and 20? Regardless, he was in OC when Rodgers won his last two MVP awards. And then he gets, obviously, he was one of the most highly respected coordinators in the game, so much so that the Denver Broncos hired him as their head coach. You say, well, he was horrible there. Some guys aren't cut out to be head coaches. You should be excited that we've got a former head coach and a guy. This is kind of what he thrived in doing, is being kind of an assistant, right? Now, with the Jets, it didn't go good. Obviously, nothing went good with the Jets, though. Robert Saleh ends up getting fired. I'm not looking at it's funny, too, the people that don't like Nathaniel Hackett, they're the same folks that'll pretend like he had nothing to do with the Jets offense, right? Unless it's convenient to bash him. Like either Aaron Rodgers ran the offense, like y'all said, forever, or he was actually in charge. You got to pick a side, because when it's convenient to bash on Aaron Rodgers, not people in our chat, just fans in general, when it's convenient to bash Aaron Rodgers, right? Well, Aaron Rodgers is trying to do too much. He's running the show. He's controlling everything, right? Nathaniel Hackett ain't even doing anything. And then when they're bad, Nathaniel Hackett's a bad OC all of a sudden. So I'm glad he's back in Green Bay just to get another set of eyes, someone who's 22 years of experience around the game of football and made it to the highest peak and also been a coordinator. I'm really excited about this, Jacob. I don't know how you feel about it, man.
Man, you know what? I understand maybe why certain Packer fans may have a certain feeling against Hackett and think he's a hack, basically. The thing is that people forget that not very many head coaches in the NFL actually succeed. I would say that the majority of them don't. And that doesn't mean that you're not a good coach. I mean, two things can be true at once. You can be an amazing coordinator, an amazing, coach, an amazing specialist in whatever kind of way. And maybe just the head coach job wasn't right for you for what for whatever reason. Maybe it just wasn't a good fit. That does not mean that you have no purpose, no skill, no ability to impact these players at, like you said, a professional level. The guy's got 22 years of experience with very storied franchises doing very intricate things. And personally, I'm super excited to have him back. I know Coach Len in the chat's been lighting it up. I threw up a few of his comments talking about the golden zone, how we had the best red zone efficiency, like by far when he was in charge of that. And like you said, I thought it was 20 and 21. That could be wrong. I think, like you said, but whatever it is, man, it's the fact that, one, he knows our system too. He knows the culture. He knows some of the players, I'm sure, still, and he understands what it took to win in those years he was with us. And I think maybe even him going out, having that experience, you can't tell me he hasn't learned more. He hasn't maybe self-reflected on things. Hey, you know what? I know what I did wrong as a coach. I know what I maybe did right as a coordinator. Let's put that knowledge, let's put that use towards a championship winning football team here in 2025 with the Packers. I'm pumped about it.
And I love how they do this, Tim, how Coach LaFleur does this, bringing in Saleh to work with the offense, right? And now bringing in Hackett, an offensive coach, to work with the defense, because I'm telling you, man, there's no better person to have you kind of pick apart a defense than an offensive-minded coach, and vice versa with Saleh last year. And obviously, do we all agree that it worked, having Robert Saleh in the house? You know what I'm saying? Like, our defense ended up being a top 10, some say top 5 overall defense last year, and it definitely helped in the run defense. So.
Yeah, absolutely. If you got a guy you can trust, that brings that kind of perspective, and you can apply it to the opposite side of the ball, and have someone kind of over your shoulder in a good way. Usually it's not a good thing if someone's leaning over your shoulder, giving you perspective all the time when you're trying to coordinate your scheme or whatever. But I think it's a good look, and looking good too, man. Looks like he's in playing shape too there.
I was gonna say, man,
you gotta love a coach on the staff that isn't gonna take any BS off of any of the young athletes, right? He can get right up in their face. So no, I just think it's really cool. And Jacob made a great point, man. Not everyone is gonna be successful as a head coach. Does not mean that they can't help teams win titles as an assistant. So I think it's a good thing that he's here.
Definitely. Coach Lynn in the chat says we now have 4 former head coaches on staff. You got to love that. Completely agree. Coach Deadfish says he was a good coach here. That's good enough for me. And Holmes MD1 says Hackett's a very good coach, just not a head coach yet. And I think that's very well said there as well. Some people are just not cut out to be head coaches, man. They're great coordinators. They're great assistants, and they just don't have what it takes to kind of be that guy at the top of the mountain. But boy, oh boy, we have footballs flying around in Green Bay earlier today. And Matt Schneiden obviously getting us some clips here. Look at Matthew Golden, how quick. Just watch the feet, guys. And I know, listen, this is routes on air. This is just helmets and nothing else, right? But does this boy not look quick? I mean, look at the footwork right there. It reminds me of, I'm telling you, I keep saying this, he reminds me of a quicker version of Greg Jennings, just how smooth he is in and out of his breaks, his transitions. And I'm not even sure who threw him that football. It really don't matter to me. I don't think it was Jay Love. But
I think it was Elgersma, it looked like.
Elgersma. Yeah. Pretty good ball right there on the pylon. Put it right over top of the pylon. So what do y'all think, man? You excited about Matthew Golden here? It's just so cool to finally see him on the practice field. You know what I mean, Jake?
Yeah, it definitely is. Clint Armchair, he says Golden is twisty. I like that definition there, that description. And the more and more I see him in the 22, I love it, dude. I absolutely love it. It's just a little something unique. I love the way, like you said, the foot. Hey, look at Daryl coming here. Yeah, Golden has smooth, quick footing, running routes. That's exactly what I was going to say. And the way that it seems kind of effortless right now. And like you were talking about that ball placement there, he understands where he's got to make the contact, make the point catch, understand where the pylon is. I mean, he looks – it seems like a simple motion, but like some people take that for granted. The fact that this guy he just seems like he has that FBI we always talk about. He seems like that the game's not too fast for him. Obviously, it's the first day of camp. I get that, but he does seem like that he's a first round pick. He's fitting in. He's getting in with the guys. I'm ecstatic, man. And then obviously, just the fact that he's here, he's in camp. There's no more drama. You see, he's got the what do you call that? The angel helmet or whatever you call it. Guardian helmet. Thank you. Better safe than sorry. I'm down with all that. It's we used to call it shells when we were just wearing our helmet and no other pads. That's what they called it. But it's a little bit more than underwear Olympics. We're getting there, slowly but surely. I think we have the right as Packer fans to freak out and overreact today. So that's what we're gonna do. I think he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, clearly based on this route right here. That's what we got in front of us here. Future Hall of Famer, guys.
Yeah. And Coach Lynn says here, Tim, he's twitchy. Ed Madden said Golden can really decelerate and explode into the break, quick feet. The feet's really what sticks out to me. Coach Lynn says great jab step at the top of the route. My man, Coach Lynn knows all about the technique that you should be watching for here. Greg Rice says he looks like an NFL wide receiver. Tim, this is kind of goes hand in hand with what Jordan Love said with the OTAs and everything. He's like, he looks polished, right?
Yeah.
It's rare you get I'd say it's probably rare to anybody in Green Bay for a receiver to come in and look so polished because we've never had a first round talent wide receiver, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's been a while, right? We've been waiting for this moment. We certainly do get to enjoy it, and I agree with the takes here. You can see it. A lot of what we saw on the Texas tape looked a lot like this with, unfortunately, worse balls, worse passes that he was working with, underthrown and overthrown balls. So, catching balls from Malik Willis and Taylor Algersma and Jordan Love, guys that can, like you said, put a good throw out there for him. This is going to give him a chance to showcase himself and his skills. And I love him. Sudden is a good way to describe him too. Very sudden and deliberate, compact route, no wasted motion, just like we saw on the tape. This is going to be so fun. I can't wait for preseason week 1 against the Jets. It's going to be fun to watch him.
Yeah,
you know what? It seems like he's explosive, but completely under control. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like sometimes you see guys that are just kind of, they're going ape wild, but like they don't really have any control or any polish. He just seems like everything is very meticulous, like intentional.
Yeah, definitely. No, body control was the big thing that stood out. Him being able to contort himself in the air too and high point the ball in college. Now, college is different from pros. We're all well aware. But I love what Packer Up says here. Hot take: Golden will have the number 1 spot by the end of camp. I wouldn't rule it out. I wouldn't. Is it? If I had to put money on it, probably wouldn't, right? Because it's going to take a little time, to get acclimated to the system and everything. Although a lot of that is very similar to what they did in Texas. We talked about that, with the nasty splits and the moving Z and going from, a slot left to a stack look with cheat motion, all those things. That's a part of, and I think it was Tim that pointed out, well, Clayton, if they're using all that motion, they've got to have choice routes, right? Yeah, they've got choice routes baked into Texas's offense. So now he's just got to learn LaFleur's terminology and what he wants out of those choice routes. So Hardy the Prophet with a super chat. Thank you, Hardy. Appreciate you, buddy. Says, question for Tim. Did you feel the heat from that star as you stood in his presence? LMFAO.
Just a little bit. I don't know. It's hard to tell because it was hot as hell out there today, guys. I'm not going to lie. I was sweating. Luckily, I was gracious enough to receive a gift from a Packers player today.
Hey!
You know who's this belongs to, right, Jacob?
Yeah, I do.
This helped out in the heat, so I was able to, wipe the sweat off a little bit. But yeah, man, it was hot.
Are you not going to tell him? You're just going to play hard to get? You're not going to tell him? You guys in the chat, you're gonna understand in the chat. You guys are gonna understand how jealous I am right now. Literally, that was the first thing Tim sent in the group chat today. Can I tell him, or do you want to tell him?
Go ahead, tell him.
Tim got a Brenton Cox Jr. towel, basically thrown at him like Mean Joe Green in the commercial. That's what I.
No, it was not thrown at me like Mean
Tim was
Joe.
holding the Coca-Cola.
That is, so you already messed up the story, Jacob.
Photoshop waiting to happen right there. Photoshop waiting. Let me make a note of that. Go ahead, Tim.
All right, tell the story, Tim.
No, it was actually, he was walking, riding the bike a little bit, walking in, and the kids hounded him for autographs and stuff. And he turned to sign an autograph for someone else, and he dropped his towel. So I picked it up and handed it back to him, and he handed it back to me and said, "You keep it." So shout out to Brenton Cox Jr., man, a man of the people, total team guy, and also an absolute monster. You talk about feeling some heat standing in the presence of someone. That is a big human being, as we all know. So appreciate it, though, for real. I'm keeping it.
Greg Rice.
If you want it, Jacob, if you want it that bad, I mean, you're the one who called him. So, I mean, you can have it. I'll send it to you.
Hey,
I'm just saying, not me. Greg
you'll
Rice.
get it done, right? Just send him a Benny. One Benny will do it. You know what I mean? Got to keep the lights on, man. Come on. You know how it goes.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Eric Sutherland says, Golden has great hands and body control. Going to be a stud. Ed Madden says, love the body control and the focus on the ball all the way through the route. And Holmes MD1 says he's abrupt and smooth at the same time. Our old high school coach in baseball used to say, be quick, but don't get in a hurry.
Yep.
And as a 16-year-old, I was like, the hell's he talking about? Be quick and don't get in a hurry. I'm talking about playing under control. And that's the big thing you see with him for sure. Again, Hardy, thank you for that super chat, man. We appreciate you if I didn't say that. Holmes MD1, get a T-glove towel for Excelio. We could probably just fake that. You know what I mean? Just go to Bed Bath & Beyond and buy one of their towels on sale and say, "Hey, man, this is from Glover, Amelia." Ed Madden said, heard that Savion had a nice one-handed grab today. Nice. I didn't hear that, Ed. That's awesome, dude. Awesome. I'm really excited to see him now that he's got the shoulder taken care of and all that. I'll tell you someone else, though, Matt Schneidman had tweeted about, and that's our boy Jaden Reed. Just a quick little clip from Jordan Love to Jaden Reed. Man, if Matthew Golden is a hit, right, if we do hit on that draft pick, and then you turn around and you got Jaden Reed, what happened at the second half of the season, Jaden Reed really started to draw a lot of attention underneath. Right. He was hands down our best receiver. I think he was the top receiver in terms of passer rating when targeted in the entire NFL last year. There was only a tight end that was higher than him at passer rating when targeted, like a minimum of 50 targets or something. So when they started to kind of bend the coverage underneath on Jaden Reed, now imagine that happening with Matthew Golden, 4.2 speed, over the top, also working the perimeter, which we've seen all over the Texas college tape of him working those hitches, those comebacks, it was curl in, fade out, jab back in is like his patent go-to move. What I mean by that is 10 yards, chop it down, curl back in towards the hash. But as you catch the ball, work to the sideline, and when you turn, jab back in. And you put the cornerback in an absolute blender. Now, will that be what Matt LaFleur wants to do with Matthew Golden? Who knows? But I just know having someone who can run crisp routes, has really good hands, body control, all the things we just talked about, working the outside and taking the attention away from Jaden Reed. And then as soon as you maybe go with a bullseye look and double team one, put your best corner on the other, you got number 85, Tucker Kraft, working across the middle. I'm really, really liking the way this offense is shaping up. Now, they got to go out there and do it, obviously. But what do y'all think about that, the combination of Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden together on the field?
Deadly. Potential to be deadly, and a problem for secondaries all over the league, and something that I can't wait to see. It's important not to get overly excited because, like we said, we're kind of just revving up the motor. You know, you fire up the car, you just got to rev up the engine a little bit, and before you know it, we'll really get to see some really meaningful reps from these guys as we storm through the preseason a little bit, especially guys like Matthew Golden and Savion Williams, but. I think the Golden and Reed combination is going to be something that a lot of teams are going to have to figure out what they're going to do with, because you're talking about two of the most talented receivers on this squad, and using them in tandem or whatever Coach LaFleur's got up his sleeve, it's going to be fun to see.
Yeah, definitely, and really, really excited about what Tucker Kraft can do this year. He was interviewed there, I guess, at the new locker room, boys. I'm telling you, it's so sick. It looks so nice, man. Absolutely love it. I told Mandy, I was like, I wonder if we can do something like that up here in the studio. Just a little, create one locker up here and completely replicate what they've got the lockers looking like. I thought would be a pretty cool little setup. Maybe put some memorabilia stashed in it type thing. But Matt Schneidman tweeted out Tucker Kraft, quote, I believe Jordan is the guy that's going to take us to the Super Bowl. That's it. He also had another funny quote where he complimented another man's eyes, which was absolutely hilarious. I don't know if y'all seen that.
Yeah, that was
in this deep, thought-out question, and Tucker cuts him off mid-sentence, goes, your eyes are really blue. He said, I'm married.
I'm married.
And Tucker said, well, I have to take you out to dinner first. It was awesome, dude. Absolutely awesome. But this is the type of stuff at Locker Cleanout last year. Tucker Kraft said, things have got to change, and I'm going to be one to step up and take a leadership role. And I'm telling you, man, I think he's the dude to do it. Matt LaFleur was bragging on him and said all summer long he was in here working with the offense. He didn't miss a day. It's just that's what you're looking for, leadership by example. I'm really excited about Tucker Kraft this year. And then, of course, we got one of the biggest puzzle pieces in place here with Zach Tom. Matt Schneidman put this tweet out. Just a 46-second little clip here. Zach Tom's first comments since signing his 4-year, $88 million extension, making him the third highest paid right tackle in the NFL. He says his first purchase will be a new car since he still drives a 2016 Charger. Here's what our boy Zach Tom had to say. Listen how humble he is, too. And you talk to people, and you're just like, that's a good dude. You know what I mean? Like you want to be around him. You go to bat for him because you can just tell he's not about himself. Tell me if you guys get the same vibe here, Jake. He just seems really humble.
It's a testament to, obviously their belief in me. Obviously it feels good to know that the team believes in me and knows what I can do in the future. It's also a testament to everybody that's been there for me in the past, my coaches, family, teammates, friends, like it's everybody. So, yeah, I'm excited. Sure.
Does that kind of validate how you felt about your own game these past couple of years?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I pride myself on going out there, giving it my all. I'm gonna give my best every week. And yeah, for sure. It's nice to know that they believe in me. And now it's just time to go out there and show it.
I love it. And you notice how too the way that he approached it. We talk about leadership 101, right? True leaders will absorb criticism and redistribute praise. As he's talking about his teammates, he's talking about his coaches, he's talking about his family, his friends, everybody. He literally took the praise that reporter kind of shined on him and just put it on everybody else. This dude, I'm so glad he's a Packer. I hope he's a Packer for life, to be honest with you, man. Go ahead and get the next extension ready. I love Zach Tom.
Pay that man his money.
And they did.
Yeah, I completely agree. If I didn't know better, I'd say that like he had studied many leadership books and read seminars and done that. I don't think that he has. I think this is his natural body. This is his natural disposition. I think that he is more of a guy that like, just look at his face. I hate saying it like that. It's aw shucks, but I think it is a little more just, he's almost embarrassed or like not comfortable with being in the limelight, not having the success. He talks about how he has a 2016 Dodge Charger. Don't get me wrong. That's still better than my car.
Sweet car.
I'm just saying. No, honestly, though, he really does seem like he's the type of guy that fits so well with this community, with this organization, specifically in this moment in time. I just think that the puzzle pieces fit so perfectly that it's almost kismet. And he just seems like such a nice, humble young man that, like you said, that just seems to me like a forever Packer. And I think that the front organization, the front office, that they realized what they had with him. And I think that's why you didn't see so much drama and a lot of media stuff. They wanted to get that deal done. They approached him in a way that I think that he respected it. And here he is. He's the third highest right tackle in the NFL. And let's see what he gets on that next contract, because I think he's still ascending.
Yeah. Tim, you got anything on Zach Tom and the offense before we move on to the defensive side of the ball, man?
Echoing everything Jacob just said, and you, Clayton, I hope he's a Packer for life. How cool would that be, to get a draft steal like that and have him just, play a 12 to 13, 14, 15 season career, hopefully, with the Packers? I would just love it. Yeah. Glad he got paid, man.
Yeah, me too, man, for sure. Clint, the armchair quarterback, been reading the scheduling here tonight. He says Melton is listed as a corner now. Bang. They were actually asked about it at the presser earlier today, too, and they made it sound like he is a corner now. Now, some people hear that and go, okay, maybe Melton could play corner, right? To me, guys, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but this doesn't feel good for Bo Melton. Like, this is kind of the last chance to make the roster, and hopefully he does, because if you do have someone playing corner, and we know he can play on special teams, and you get in a bind and you need somebody to hop over and play receiver, let's say you have 2 or 3 guys go down in one game, it would be very, very valuable to have them on the roster. Tim, I mentioned this, but I feel like I'm trying to talk myself into Bo Melton's going to be on the roster, when in all honesty, this might be his last opportunity to be a Green Bay Packer. Now, there's still a chance, obviously, that he could be back on the practice squad if he don't make the 53. But what do you think about Bo Melton here, man? We talked about the footwork. The footwork looks good, dude.
That's what I'm saying. And I agree, man. Like, Bo, what if he surprises everybody? Mm-hmm. What if he shocks the hell out of everybody and he's a legit corner? I mean, you talk about having to fill the void of losing an all-pro like Jair, right? So let's give him a chance. Maybe that's what it is. It's exactly what it is. Hey, we're going to work you with the DBs. You're gonna work out as a corner this camp. You've got one camp to show us that you can legit play corner, and that'll be your shot to make this 53. And then we get the added bonus of having another backup receiver in a pinch. It's a crowded wide receiver room. So clearly Bo's best opportunity to make the 53 is going to be to play some corner here. So I'll tell you, man, keep an eye on preseason football. We're going to see number 16 out there lining it up, playing a little DB.
Yeah, and the chat, Jacob, man, they seem to be on board with it, dude. Ed Madden said, I think he can make the 53 at corner. Jen Wright, good to see you in here, man. She says, agreed, Melton can make the 53. Special team is key as well. Great Coach Lynn said, I would agree. Our cornerback, love what Coach Lynn says. Our cornerback 4, 5, and 6 is not established at all. That's a great point there, Jacob.
Yeah, 100%. And a lot of people are still coming in with the chat here. So I get what you're saying, Clayton. And I know Ryan, this is like one of his biggest things that he's talked about over the years. And more, I would say 99% of the time, Ryan's been right. Like when you start moving guys to other positions, people get excited. They're like, oh, he's a multi-positional player. Nope. He's about to get a knock on the door that says, can you come into my office real quick and, have that conversation. There is something that feels different about this, though. The way that some of the press releases came out and the way that some of the posts and some of the interviews, I didn't get a chance to watch everything today. I was a little strapped for time. But there was just something about the fact I felt like it wasn't coach speak, that they really do want to give him a shot to make this team. And I think like Coach Lynn said, I know we got a starting 3 or at least a top 3 to 4, but there's definitely some room at the back end of that. And if you have a guy, I talk about this all the time, and I jokingly about like a long snapper that could actually be any other position on the team, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If you do have a guy like Bo Melton that has a cornerback potential, obviously wide receiver experience, that has special teams like bona fides, that I really do think that's not a liability. That's an asset, in my opinion, especially if he is on the back end of that 53-man roster. Do I expect that he's going to come out and be cornerback 1 and look like, Jair? No, that's not what I don't think anybody's saying that. But the fact that he is an absolute jack of all trades on this team, I don't think, like Coach just said too, he's our best gunner. I Respect Oranges comes in, he's a 9.24 RAS athlete. To me, that's not the type of people that we let walk.
Yeah. And again, I don't think it would be something they just cut him outright and not want him back in the practice squad. I'm wondering, can they sneak him onto the practice squad is what they're thinking. Now, yeah, there's plenty of other teams in the league, like you just said, Jacob, at 9.24 RAS that Respect Oranges brings up. They'd be lined up around the block for an athlete like that, no doubt. Dan Lang in the chat says the 4 to 6 CB is up for grabs. Seize the moment. He's going to have an opportunity to do it. What are we going to be watching in special or in preseason this year, boys? We're going to be watching Bo Melton try to make this team, right? It's going to be awesome. Coach Lynn says Bo has to beat out King and Haddon. I think he has a chance. And it's funny that you mentioned that too, Coach, because the next clip we got here came from our good buddy Baz over there at Basariski Productions. And they had this clip somebody had recorded, I believe, there in practice, and he had just shared it on Twitter. Great pass breakup today from Kalen King. I'll just let it roll here, and you boys check it out. Kalen King's going to make a play in the lower right corner along the sideline here, as you see. Drop back to pass. Look at our boy getting there and break it up, right? Get a hand on it. Listen, Kalen King, man, I'm a fan. I don't think he had many opportunities last year, right? But now that Ja's gone, this might be the year that he breaks onto the roster, but he's going to be competing with Bo Melton and some of these guys, right? I love the idea of Kalen King being our 5th DB, you know what I mean? Our 5th corner. I think, based off how he played the year before he came out of college. And granted, he had, I want to say it was Joey Porter Jr. playing on the opposite side from him. So some people were saying that's why he looked so good. Joey Porter Jr. was covering the 1s and he was covering the 2s. But nonetheless, man, I think he showed enough in college. I'm excited to see what he can do. And he's got his feet wet now, Tim, with a full year in the league, whether it's on practice squad, running scout team, helping run scout team, and then getting into a little bit of playing time. And I think he'll be all right.
I agree. I feel the same way about Kalen King as I do about like KT Oladapo. That's another great example in our secondary of a guy who didn't get a lot of chances last year, but has been around. This is now his 2nd year as a pro. I think there's a lot to be excited about, and I agree, man. I hope Kalen King is one of the 5 DBs for sure.
Mm-hmm. Greg Rice asked here, who threw that ball? I think that might be Taylor Elgersma. Do you guys agree or no?
That's a Respect Oranges seems to think that. I couldn't quite see.
Yeah, to me it looks. I mean, it's definitely not a 6, so it's not our boy Sean Clifford, right? I want to say Malik Willis. Malik Willis got a little bit better tan than that, so I think that's Elgersma. But again, I think the reason they brung it up, in my opinion, that's a pretty nice ball. You know what I mean? Look, that's not an easy throw to make. You're putting that thing, 20 yards down the field and then another 8 to 10 yards outside. I mean, just barely gets a hand on it, though.
Yeah, that's just great defense by Kalen King, right? Mm-hmm. You could see him fired up, too. As soon as he popped up, he was fired up. He knew he made a play on that ball. And we know that this kid from Canada can sling it too. So I don't think it was a bad throw. I think it was just good defense.
Yeah, Coach Lynn says, I heard Oladapo played a little slot today. Hey, you better be able to cross-train, Jacob. You know what I mean? You got to be able to get into these other positions because you never know when they're going to get banged up. And you know, the fact that they had him playing a little in the slot, you know, it's the first day of camp. I got to calm down. But the first thought that comes to mind for me is maybe they are putting Bullard completely back to safety. You know what I mean? They're trying just to cross-train Oladapo in the slot. So what do you think about that? And what do you think about Kalen King here, man? You think you got a shot to make this roster?
I really do. I liked what I brought it up earlier, Jen, right? The 4, 5, and 6 being Haddon, King, and Melton. That would be an absolute dream for me. Absolute dream. And I think that, you know, what you've talked about where Kalen King had spurts of greatness in college. I mean, at one point he was considered the top cornerback in the draft. Then obviously some things happened and didn't quite pan out the way that obviously he would have wanted it. But and same thing with Kamal Haddon. Wasn't he a Tennessee guy, Clayton?
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Pretty sure, yeah.
I liked him a lot coming out, and I was very surprised that he didn't end up sticking with the team and really getting a good shot because I really thought that he played good ball. So the amount, I don't think that there's any, you know, we did an exercise just yesterday about the best camp battles. I think that you could just put DB room, safety room, just throw. Obviously, we kind of know who the starters are at safety, but just the fact that we have such a deep rotation, added with the fact that we have such unknown prospects in the DB room in general, cornerback, whether it be the slot or outside on the perimeter, you know, it's going to be a really fun battle to see. I'm getting more and more jealous of Tim by the minute because he gets to have a front row seat to this kind of stuff. And, you know, I really would enjoy the competition. And I have to think that, you know, iron or steel sharpens steel, iron sharpens iron, whatever you want to say there. I think that the amount of competition that we've brought into this offseason and now into the training camp is going to absolutely pay off in dividends.
Yeah. Yep. And then, you know, we're talking about all these young guys that might be on the bubble and trying to make the 53 and maybe grab their spot on the practice squad. One guy you ain't got to worry about that is Xavier McKinney, as Baz tweeted this out. Xavier McKinney's interception on Love today. Great play by Ed. If you could catch it here, bottom center of the screen, watch him go up and snatch that thing, picked off. X is going to pick up right where he left off last year, guys. Really, and look at everybody rally around him. And you think they don't love Xavier McKinney? I've seen Baron Sorrell right in the middle of those players, as well as Dan Lang said. X's INT was a thing of beauty, such a great player. And you know, some people would see that and go, "Man, Love threw an interception." Think about this. Zach Tom has turned into a fantastic right tackle. Who lines up across from him every practice? Rashawn Gary, the best pass rusher on the team. So now you got Love having to go in his second year with Xavier McKinney on the team. He has to worry about going up against him every day in practice. Tim, that's a great thing. Jacob mentioned iron sharpening iron. That's another aspect of this whole thing. It's kind of like back in the day, if I remember correctly, you had – who was it? It was Devontae Adams going against Jair Alexander, a young Jair Alexander, and him kind of stretching Jair Alexander's game. And then Devontae Adams moves on. Jair Alexander's a Pro Bowler, and now he's on Christian Watson covering him. And it's just kind of that matchup that goes both ways, man. You want your ones on your ones as much as possible so you can improve as much as you can.
Yeah, and it says a lot because this was like the first thing they did too. As soon as they started doing anything team orientated, it was ones versus ones right away. Like awesome. Right away. That was the first thing I noticed. And you see it, you're right. I'm sure X probably talks a little trash to Jordan, and Jordan probably talks a little trash back, and it's all in good fun, and you're motivating each other, picking each other up. But I would think that you're absolutely correct there in that assessment, Clayton, that, you know, you got to think that just in the development that we've seen out of Jordan Love since the Xavier McKinney signing, you know, you look at, despite the injuries last year that he had, the way that he closed out that season for us. So I think he's just going to continue to improve when he's got to go up against, you know, competition like that. And we know Jordan likes to air it out and take the shot play, right? So you got guys like X and Evan Williams back there making it difficult for him.
Yeah, for sure. Jacob, you got anything on Xavier McKinney here, man? I think he'll pick up right where he left off last year.
I really do. The guy's just a consummate pro. Like, you don't have to tell him to be ready. You don't have to coach him on how to take care of his body in the offseason. Obviously, you can see that he's ready to go right now. I saw some people, not in this chat, but in other chats, be like, Jordan Love throwing interceptions, guys. Rodgers used to just throw anything he could because it was camp. He likes to just stretch it. He likes to test his arm. He likes to test the defense. If you watch the show, somebody said, I believe in the chat here, they did say he's got to get a little more zip on that. I don't think he's going to make that ball no matter what. X has got that thing locked in, and he had a good angle on that wide receivers route there. But, you know, I love to see it personally. Xavier is just what it means to be a Packer, what it means to be a captain, what it means to be a staple of the defense. I'm so excited about his progression and the way that, you know, he's so good that I really find it hard to believe that there's no way that his type of ethic, his type of attention to the game is not going to seep into the young guys like Oladapo, like Evan Williams, like Bullard. So it's just I don't think that you could put a price on what that guy's worth.
Yeah, and Rob Demoski put this tweet out, said just a couple of highlights. Xavier McKinney with an end zone INT, Matthew Golden touchdown catch from Malik Willis. Sound like Malik Willis really performed well today. And I'm so every time I hear the name Malik Willis, I'm like, I'm so glad he's our backup quarterback. That's so awesome. So it lasted 1 hour, 36 minutes. And it looks like, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, it looks like the defense doing push-ups today. Is that what you are seeing here too?
I think so.
The green?
Yeah, it looks like all the offensive guys are standing there. I don't see any.
Here we go.
Standing, so.
We got our first winner.
There you go. All right, so that's just a quick little recap of what happened on the practice field the first day of camp. Let's shift gears now and let's talk a little injury update. We put a little Patreon article together with a series of tweets from earlier today, and this stuff kind of stood out to me. So Elgton Jenkins and Quay Walker news. Now listen, the Elgton Jenkins injury status, I know everybody's rolling their eyes and going, he's not really hurt. We know what this is. They're trying to get the contract worked out. I will say this. Well, first of all, let's talk about the Packers camp practice number 1, not participating. Wes Hawkins did a great job putting this list together. So the players that did not participate today, Quay Walker, Christian Watson, Micah Robinson, cornerback, defensive end Colin Oliver, running back Amar Johnson, offensive lineman John Williams, Elgton Jenkins. Okay, both Elgton Jenkins and John Williams listed with back. So is that what's been going on with John Williams? That could be the case, right? Maybe he's had a back injury. I don't know. Now, Colin Oliver, all these other guys, I'm not overly concerned with a bunch of this. Christian Watson, I'm really eager to see how far they push him along in camp. I think what's probably going to happen there, he's going to start on PUP, and you'll probably look to open up that window, that 30-day, 28-day, whatever it is, window to practice him. I would imagine that's going to come after the bye around week 5. I think, don't we got a week 5 bye? Am I thinking right, guys? I think that's
week
what it is.
5, correct.
Yeah. I'd say around there, they'll open up that practice window, and you're looking somewhere between week 5 and, say, week 8 with him returning. That would be absolutely awesome. Now, let's talk about Elgton Jenkins here, because the thing that got me, Goody said Elgton Jenkins is working through a back injury and will hopefully be on the field soon. And everybody just laughed and scoffed at it, going, oh, we know what this is. And you know, there could be some truth to that this is just, hey, so he doesn't look like a bad guy, we don't look like a bad guy. But this is the thought, this is the comment that kind of got me here. Gutekunst asked if Elgton Jenkins has indicated he'll be on the field once his back heals. Yeah, absolutely. Gutekunst says Jenkins has always done right by the Packers and vice versa. Noted he hasn't missed anything mandatory for non-injury reasons. I want to get your all's take on this, because this to me feels like, now listen, it could be Goody putting pressure on them in the public eye, right? But also, what if this whole time he held out for a little bit and that got reported correctly, and then once he got to the point like, okay, they ain't going to budge, what if it is a little minor back injury, a little tweak there that's really keeping him out? Because Tim, Goody put the pressure on him, man. Like he said, oh yeah, absolutely, he'll be out there as soon as his back heals. And he also said Jenkins always done right by the Packers and vice versa, right? To me, this says we're not doing anything with the contract. He'll be out there. I don't know. What do you think, man? Am I reading too much into it? How do you feel about it?
I mean, he's saying, hey, he hasn't missed anything for not anything mandatory for non-injury reasons. Okay, well, camp is mandatory, right? So, yeah, he better have an injury. Otherwise, it's posturing, like we said, right? So I'll say this, both could be true, right? Maybe Big E, like he tweaked his back when he was searching for that guaranteed money. He was looking all over for like, where is it? But I don't know. I think Goody's got to do what he's going to do, and like he always does, and he's gonna put people's feet to the fire. But I don't think there's anything he said in that statement that's not true. Big E's always done right by the Packers, and this team is going to do right by him, hopefully. And I think at some point, maybe it is a minor back injury or something. I mean, he's a big guy. He plays on the O-line. You know, it's early in the year. You can tweak a back just being at the gym, you know, doing something. So we'll see how this plays out. But I don't think there's anything wrong with you taking that angle, Clayton, that maybe the writing on the wall is, hey, your deal's your deal, and you're going to play out your contract, you know? So I don't know.
And again, I understand both sides. Like, I get where Elton's coming from, wanting a little bit of security for the next 2 years, and I understand the Packers going, hey, this is why we set our contracts up the way we do. You know, Jacob, what do you think, man? Holmes MD1 says Goot seemed honest to me. Do you think he's being real here? And as soon as the back heals up, Elton Jenkins is just going to step right on the practice field, or do you think this truly is a hold-in? What do you think, man?
I think I'd maybe side with Tim somewhat and just say that two things can be kind of true at once. I think Gutekunst could really think, hey, we expect him to be out there once this quote-unquote back injury is done. And maybe that Jenkins is saying, oh, well, I don't know if I can really get it healed up in time, and maybe putting a little more pressure. I find it hard to believe that Jenkins would be happy to do the position change. He's watching Banks get paid. He's watching him draft two guys in the first couple of rounds in the last two drafts. Obviously, they just paid Tom. I think that if he really, and if I was in his position, I'll be honest, I would probably be searching for at least some sort of guaranteed money, some sort of compensation that lets me know that you guys are going to want me for the next year at least, or not, if not more. You know what I mean? And we always talk about NFL stands for not for long. Elton Jenkins is a very smart man. I don't think that he's going to be putting his head in the sand and thinking that, you know, but I could also see the fact that if Goody really comes out there and says, play this contract, that's what we expect. And we'll maybe talk next year if you've got some sort of performance that we absolutely love. I could see them totally giving him a great deal maybe in the following year. But we have to remember he's about to turn 30, right? So I think that I understand both sides. Like you said, it's hard for me to – I'm not going to go out and make a heavy stance, but I think that I understand both sides of the scenario right now.
Fair statement from Respect Oranges here. You know, bending down repeatedly to snap the ball can get your back hurting, especially as you get older in your NFL body. If he's being asked to take these reps, like, who knows, right? It's fair.
Here's the thing I want to say about that with the center position. If I was in an offensive lineman's shoes and they were saying, hey, we want you to play center, I would much rather play any other position. It sounds silly, but you having to bend all the way over every single snap, I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older now or what, and I'm getting soft. Oh, my God, I hate the thought of that. That's just like playing catcher in baseball back in the day. It's like, oh, my God, your knees after a ball game. I used to have so much respect for those guys that could catch. It's just like, how do y'all do this all day long? So I get it, man. I get it. Let's move on to Quay Walker here. As I thought this was great news. You guys know Quay was last seen on a scooter, right? And he's starting the training camp on that list we talked about, right, where he wasn't going to participate. Well, Matt Schneidman had tweeted this out at 10:40 a.m. Central Time. He said, Gutekunst says Quay Walker had a, quote, cleanup done this offseason that will keep him out for a bit, but not too long. It was an ankle procedure. So the ankle injury last year, obviously they went in, probably had it scoped, cleaned that out real good, and now they're looking to get him back. And then this was really cool because notice the timeline here, guys, 5:07 p.m. So this was just a couple hours ago, really. Rob Demovsky tweeted out, we could see Quay Walker on the field tomorrow. Past the physical, Micah Robinson, DB out of Tulane, let's go, and Quay Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. So, Jacob, like Quay Walker might be on the practice field tomorrow, man. This is great news here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've discussed on this podcast what a difference maker it is to have Quay and Edgerrin Cooper on the field at the same time. I believe it was Emilio that pointed out that it only happened once last year. For whatever reason, that they never really got to be on that field together. I think it's going to be a massively important part of this team and of this defense. In my opinion, the biggest glaring weakness, I don't think it's the DB room. I honestly do think that it's the linebacker room. If there's any sort of injury to our starting three, and depending on what we've got with Isaiah and with guys like Hopper, we think we know what we have with McDuffie. I think we know what we've kind of got with Cooper. Quay is still somewhat of a question mark to me, even though I believe that he's taken drastic steps. We've seen how he's matured, right? Remember that we had the kind of hothead Quay. We've seen that, possibly games in the past, but I'm very excited. I think he's going to take a step. I think he's become an even better pro, and I'm excited to see what he does.
Tim, I know you're not excited about seeing Quay Walker on the practice field, are you, man?
Are you kidding me? I almost climbed the fence today trying to go say what's up. This makes me feel so good because, I was out there since, 9:30, 9 o'clock this morning, something like that. And it was great to see Quay walking around without, the boot and without the little ankle scooter thingamajig that he was scooting around with. But I got to tell you, I'm not a doctor. I don't know if Dr. Holmes is in the chat tonight here with us, but he was looking a little, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Walked a little gingerly. He looked a little, Emilio's talked about it too, coming back from knee surgery, like you don't really trust it. So if he had a little cleanup procedure and they just got him out of the boot and he passed the physical today, so that makes me feel so much better about what I saw today because I got nervous for a little bit. It looked like he was being very slow and deliberate with every step that he took. So if we get to see him out on the practice field tomorrow, running and jogging and doing things like that, I'm really excited for that because, to Jacob's point, Quay kind of brings as up and down as he has been at times in his career throughout his development. He does bring a stability factor to the middle of our defense, and that can just be being the green dot. I mean, imagine if Quay is able to just keep that green dot and you got Edrin Cooper running loose. We could be in a really good position seeing those two guys on the field. So I'm really excited for this.
Yeah, Packer says Quay all the way. He brings that intensity we need. I love to see fans being positive about Quay because, it seems to be kind of the popular thing to pile on there. Yeah. I want him to work out so bad. Just knowing Quay Walker and Edrin Cooper could be in the middle of that defense for a long time to come. Two physical freaks, but I'm not going to kid myself into thinking that, I think Quay is better than what we've seen on the field. There's definitely a lot more he needs to tap into. But I'm excited to see those two freaks line up across from each other, or beside each other, I should say, moving forward. Now, speaking of that, let's talk a little contract here before we get ready to wrap up. There's still a few names here to kind of keep your eye on, guys. Obviously get the Zach Tom deal done. We said that was at the top of the list. You get that out of the way. Notable potential contract extension for Green Bay Packers this camp. Now, it's not to say that they're going to sign them, but these are some that could potentially happen. Christian Watson is going to be an unrestricted free agent. Rasheed Walker, unrestricted free agent. Quay Walker, unrestricted free agent. Malik Willis, Romeo Doubs, all unrestricted free agents. Now, Devontae Wyatt, you got a little buffer. You slapped him with a fifth-year option for 2026, so he's under contract next year with that fifth-year option. However, what we've seen in the past, you could still get a deal done. I would not be surprised out of this list if it's Devontae Wyatt that gets the contract extension. And hopefully it doesn't have to break the bank. But when you look at the full list here are your unrestricted free agents. Those are the ones I mentioned that I feel like are prime to be re-signed. And I'm gonna read them off again, plus a couple others. Quay Walker, Devontae Wyatt, Christian Watson, Mecole Hardman. If he shows something, who knows? Maybe you bring him back on a little bit larger deal, right? John Fitzpatrick, Isaiah Simmons, another one we're keeping our eye on, right? Physical freak. Josh Jacobs talking about him today, calling him a unicorn, saying this dude is a freak athlete on the field. Really excited to see him in preseason. Malik Willis, Sean Ryan, another one. Sean Ryan, to the best of my knowledge, took the number 1 reps at center today. I wouldn't – if Jacob Monk isn't ready, I'm okay with Sean Ryan playing center. As long as there's no botched snaps, he's got that part down. Sean Ryan might be the guy for that job until Elton comes back, if it truly is a back injury and it lingers into the regular season at some point. Zane Anderson, would love to see him back, right? Christian Welch, Matt Orzik, Trey Hill, and then Romeo Doubs, of course. Several of those guys, I would like to see all those on my list back right here. Would love to see them all back for the right price. I'm going to get your all take on. I'll start with you, Jacob. Devontae Wyatt, I think, will be at the top of my list here. Second would probably be Quay Walker because you've got the maneuverability with the cap and you've got room there at linebacker as long as you're not breaking the bank. Malik Willis, I'd love to see back for the right price, and Christian Watson. To me, it's between Devontae Wyatt and Christian Watson and Quay Walker. Those three are the top of the list for me. What do you think, Jake?
Man, I'm a little bit different here, and people are probably going to think I'm crazy. My list would probably go Walker, Watson, Willis, Wyatt, Quay Walker. Man, I I hate saying that I'm willing to let Dobbs go, but I think Malik Willis would be a shame if we let that guy walk. I think that right now we have the best backup quarterback, especially for the system that we have in the NFL. I really do. And God forbid anything happens to Jordan Love. I think that if you have a guy like Malik Willis locked in for the next 2 or 3 years or whatever it is, you consistently still have a chance to go win a championship. If, like, again, God forbid anything happens to Jordan Love. With the Rasheed Walker, I just don't understand how you let a 7th round draft pick that's completely been producing at a crazy high level, you just let him walk out. I understand we've got the draft capital that we put on the other guys. Christian Watson, he's an athletic freak who, when he is healthy, he is a game changer. He is the type of player that you need to game plan around. So I've seen some people calling him, Mr. Glass and all that. I think that's just unfair. The guy has done nothing but go out there and put his body on the line. If I had to take a choice between Watson and Dobbs, I'm going Watson 9 times out of 10. And obviously Devontae Wyatt deserves to be on this team. I think that 5th-year option gives us a little bit more time to try to figure out if we can make this other things work. And then obviously I'm not going to want to let Quay Walker walk away. I mean, it's tough. It's tough.
It is, for sure. What do you think, Tim, about this list here, man? Any comments you got on this?
Nothing that Jacob didn't just say already for me.
Sorry.
Like, I feel you, Jacob, because and I kind of feel for Malik Willis too, because not that he doesn't love being here and being a Packer, but like we said before, a guy like Malik Willis could probably start on a handful of other teams in this league at this point in his career. So you'd hate to see a talented younger player kind of coming into his prime, kind of stuck as a backup, so to speak. However, it's a good thing for us because, like Jacob said, we got scared to death last year. We saw it a couple of times. Jordan missed some games. We know what it's like, and having a top tier backup is something that you can't take for granted. So I would agree with the sentiment that Malik Willis would be a guy you want to make an effort to bring back. But I think number one on this list for me personally would actually be probably Rasheed Walker, because I agree with Jacob. I think we got more bang for our buck than we ever thought we would thus far out of him. And I think he would be a guy that I would try and, make a Packer at least near long term, at least give him that second contract. So, but I'm not a money guy. I don't know. I don't really get into the cap as much as some other people do. But looking at this list, those would be my favorites. And then obviously Christian Watson for sure. And then Quay is a guy that you got to watch this year. We want to see what happens this year, right?
Yeah.
And then Rome is, he's in a crowded wide receiver room. What are you going to do? We talked about it. I agree with you, Jacob. Probably take Scoot over Rome as much as I like Mr. Dobbs.
Yeah, for me, in terms of Malik Willis, I want him back so bad, man. I would love to get him on a 3-year deal. You know what I mean? That's manageable. When I say manageable, somewhere between $5 to $7 million. I know Robert in the chat says Malik Willis would want to try to get a starting job somewhere else. I agree with that. I think he would want to get a starting job. I mean, why would he not? He's going to be stuck behind Love for a while. However, when you look at the draft class coming out this year, they're projecting 6, as it is right now, and again, it could change, 6 first-round picks, quarterbacks, coming up in this draft. This draft is loaded with quarterback talent, right? And again, it could shake out by the time the season ends and you get all the way into the draft season and everything. But if you got 6 guys potentially in the first round, and then you got Malik Willis and however many other free agent quarterbacks that may be on the market, I don't think the market is going to be too hot for someone like Malik Willis. And simply because, you know how the market works, man, supply and demand. If you've got a high supply of quarterbacks, which it looks like they will with the draft, and there's going to be free agent quarterbacks as well, then, you know what I mean, the price is going to be driven down quite a bit. Now, we'll see. A lot of things can happen throughout the season, but maybe that's just wishful thinking on my part, wanting Malik Willis back as the backup quarterback. So going to be exciting to see how all that unfolds as well. So, all right, we're going to wrap this thing up, guys. And I saved this for the end because I knew if I didn't, I probably wouldn't get through it. But we lost a good friend today, and that is Trucker John. You guys have heard me talk about Trucker John for some time. As I said here in the tweet that we put out, and I want to thank his son DJ for keeping me in the loop the whole time. We got to meet DJ at the draft as well. When I started doing this podcast a few years ago, we put out a text line, right, where, hey, fans could just text and ask questions. And Trucker John's always reached out. He'd been dealing with health issues for a while now. And finally, came to pass today. We lost our good buddy, Trucker John, on the first day of camp. When we did the live show a little while back, and we were trying to send a message to him. His son said, "Hey, he's going to be listening tonight." And the best of my knowledge, he was struggling to keep his eyes open and was just dealing with a lot of health issues. But I told him, I said, "Man, we need you. We need you to make it to camp. Come on, we need you in camp, Trucker John." And he passed away today. The one thing I want to say about Trucker John is every time he texted me, he was always encouraging. I could go through the list, and I'm not going to, but it was just always great show, Clayton, great show. Guys, I'm not a people person. I'm not. Like, I'm as introverted as they come. And to have people reach out and say that, what keeps you kind of going. Yeah. And I know his son kept saying, man, he thought the world of you guys and appreciated your friendship and this and that. It was way more on our end than his. We got into town in Green Bay for the draft, and I got a text from him, and it was a pot of chili. He said, having chili for the draft. I'm just telling you, it lit me up, man. And then the fact that we seen him at the draft, and we took this picture and got to meet him, this is what it's all about. And this is why I'm just going to be real for a second. This is why we will not put up with anything in the chat. We're not going to put up with negative stuff. Life's too short to get in here and argue about the team we love. We wait all year long for it to get to football season so we can be excited about football season. And we're going to get angry. We're going to get aggravated at each other and this and that, but just always check it at the door, man. Don't bring that in here. This is a chance to unplug from everything that's wrong in the world and just kind of hang out with friends and talk ball for an hour, 2 hours, however long the stream is. And John just always lifted me up, man, in the text messages. And I just want to give a shout out to DJ. Thank you so much. I know it was not easy keeping me in the loop. And if you need anything, please let us know. If Miss Trucker John needs anything, let us know. We're here. As she said, Murph said, PTA family for sure. That's what this is about, man. We're all stuck here on this ball of mud for a short amount of time. Let's take care of one another as we go. And just so blessed that I got to meet Trucker John, man, in person. I try not to tear up, but it's just like, man, God is good. God is good. So anything you guys want to say about Trucker John as we get ready to wrap up here?
Oh, just condolences to his family. And you hit it on the head, Clayton. Just a real positive, encouraging person. I was blessed to be able to meet him as well. And, we got that cool picture and just getting to talk ball a little bit in person, kind of vicariously getting to know him through the show since I got involved a couple years ago. And just always had nice, encouraging things to say. I think I had a 5-minute conversation with him that day, and everything he said to me was encouraging and positive. And like you said, Clayton, it's an inspiration when you meet people like this that really care, and they care about what you do, and brings joy to their lives, and then they bring joy to your life. So John was certainly that person, and so it's a sad day for the PTA posse for sure. Rest in peace, Trucker John.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's tough to say anything better than that. But if I'm not mistaken, I believe, didn't he used to call into the Packer After Dark as well? I seem to remember hearing quite a few calls from him.
He may have.
And that's just tough, man. I believe there's another comment in here that just said that they're just happy that you guys got to meet him. I wish that's probably my biggest regret now of not going to the draft is that right there. But I'm just really, really blessed that we have the connection with you guys. So, I know I don't want to speak for Clay or any of the guys, but when we started this podcast and when we started the show, our goal wasn't to be famous. It wasn't to make a ton of money. It wasn't to do anything. It was to bring the Packers to you guys in a way that was just more family. I think we've done that. So
yeah, definitely. And one of the last images he sent me around the draft time in a text thread was a picture of him on NFL Network. They actually got him in a crowd shot at the draft, and he was so excited about it. He was like, man, we made it on TV, So the fact that he got to go and see the draft in Green Bay, just absolutely awesome. And again, That's why there will be no Mark Murphy slander on this program because he made
That's
that
right.
happen. So, anyway, thoughts and prayers to Trucker John's family. And, DJ, like I said, buddy, I know you're listening. If you need anything, please don't hesitate, man. We're family here. So, that being said, we will see y'all tomorrow for PTA Live. We'll give you some more camp updates, camp news, and there's no easy way to end it after that other than just say, hey, man, let's just take care of one another. Let's go out and be the change we want to see in the world, and go Pack Go.
Here we go.
We're out. Bye, guys.